Josh, we are going to come up with our top 5 dark horse Super Bowl contenders. These are not necessarily teams that are going to, go to the Super Bowl per se, but they may have a chance to. And so I'm going to let you sort of dive into your five first, and then I'll respond with my five. Your five, top five, and in any order, really. It doesn't have to be in any particular order. Dark horse Super Bowl contenders.
Okay, first of all, Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. I love what the Ravens did over the offseason. Bringing in Odell Beckham Jr., hiring Todd Monken as their offensive coordinator, drafting Zay Flowers. They are adding weapons around Lamar Jackson. So I got to go with the Baltimore Ravens. Next up, Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. First of all, they should win the AFC South fairly easily because Indianapolis and Houston are both still rebuilding teams. And
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Okay. And yes, Tennessee went out and got DeAndre Hopkins, but I don't trust Ryan Tannehill.
That I agree with you.
As quarterback. So I got Baltimore and Jacksonville. I want to include Miami, but I don't trust Tua to stay healthy, so I can't do it. So instead, I'm going to go to the NFC South, and I'm going to go to Derek Carr, Dennis Allen, and the New Orleans Saints. Derek Carr, he's good. This is a good reset for him, a good change in environment, getting away from the Raiders, and they have Michael Thomas now. They're going to get Alvin Kamara back. I liked Chris Olave as a rookie, and I think he's going to continue to get better. But look at what they have in that defense. They have one of the better defenses in the league. I'm not saying it's at the level of the Eagles' defense, so don't yell at me about that. I'm saying
you're waiting patiently.
I'm just saying New Orleans has one of the better defenses in the league. So I got Baltimore, Jacksonville, New Orleans. Next up, I'm going to the Pacific Northwest. Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Pete Carroll. Yeah, I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks. First of all, I think they're going to overtake San Francisco in the NFC West, and they're going to host a playoff game at Lumen Field. Good luck going into Seattle in the playoffs and coming out with a W. I wish you the best of luck. So there's that. And then for my fifth one, for the fifth one, it's a toss-up because with the AFC, I don't know if I can really trust Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. I want to say Buffalo, but is their window already closed? Like, it could be. Kenny Pickett's not quite there, so I can't say Pittsburgh. And don't even get me started with the Raiders or the Chargers, because the Chargers still have Brandon Staley, and the Chargers are going to find ways to charge her. So, no. And the Patriots, just no. And then you look at the NFC East, the Giants, no. I don't trust Daniel Jones. Sam Howell and the Washington Commanders, not yet. Not now. No. Detroit's the most realistic option, but something just doesn't feel quite right. I don't trust Jordan Love with Green Bay. Kirk Cousins, no. Justin Fields, Arizona, no. San Francisco's, I'm going to go with San Francisco here.
As a dark horse.
Oh, actually, no. Correction. Fine, I'll just throw Dallas in there. There you go.
You know what, Mr. Augury? You better come prepared because I am ready to unleash because it is my turn. Now, when I think of dark horse candidates, I'm thinking of, playoff teams to maybe some teams that may not make the playoffs, teams that could overachieve and potentially get to the Super Bowl. So I'm not talking about Buffalo because people expect them. I'm not talking about Philly. I'm not talking about Kansas City. I'm not talking about, San Francisco. People are picking them, in some cases to go to the Super Bowl. I'm talking about teams that are like borderline playoff teams that could jump up to that Super Bowl window. Here we go. And again, in no particular order. There's some I agree with and some I vehemently disagree with.
Okay.
Number one, in my opinion, you said you don't trust him because of his health, and I completely understand that. But if he's healthy, absolutely, the Miami Dolphins are Super Bowl contenders. If you could guarantee me Tua Tagovailoa would play 17 games this season, the Dolphins would have overtaken the Bills, in my opinion, in the AFC East. The addition of Vic Fangio and when Jalen Ramsey gets back, which I was still tossing up between Miami and Buffalo, who's going to win the division. The only reason why I went with Buffalo is because Ramsey's going to be out more than half the year. So I think the edge goes a little bit to Buffalo in that department. But when you got Tyreek Hill, when you got Jalen Waddle, and when you got Mike McDaniel pulling the strings, you are in the Super Bowl window because Tua Tagovailoa was actually an MVP candidate last year when he was healthy after he looked like a bust under Brian Flores.
Okay, go ahead. I'll respond after you're done.
Everything about the Baltimore Ravens, I completely agree with you with. I've been on the bandwagon for them. I think they're going to stay healthy this year. I think they're going to win 11 games. I think Lamar Jackson doesn't win MVP, but I think he gets back to his MVP-like form the year he did win it. I think Baltimore's going to have a really good year. I keep saying it. They were the only team last year for the first 10 games of the year that had a double-digit lead in every single game. Their defense let 3 of those go, but when the Ravens are on the field, they have special power, and I think Todd Monken's a great addition at OC.
Okay.
Next team, the Los Angeles Chargers. Because of Kellen Moore, the addition as the offensive coordinator. Now, I don't trust Brandon Staley. Who can trust Brandon Staley? My own dog couldn't even trust Brandon Staley.
He should have been fired after that playoff game.
But we got Justin Herbert. We got Mike Williams. We got Austin Eckler. You got Keenan Allen. You got the kid Johnson, who you drafted in the first round, who I really like. They have all the weapons offensively. Defensively, obviously, J.C. Jackson, Asante Samuel Jr., Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Derwin James. They add the talent, and if the coaching can put it together, they could be absolutely Super Bowl contenders. The next team on my list, Unger, this is going to make you feel good. I'm actually going to go with the Cleveland Browns.
Say what?
Listen. Is there a world out there where Deshaun Watson gets completely back to his Houston Texans way? Yes, there is. Do the Browns have a good to great offensive line? Yes, they do. Do they have a good running game? Yes. Do they have good receivers? Yes. Do they have a great pass rush? Yes. Do they have good corners? Yes. Do they have good safeties? Yes. The Browns check all of the boxes except for coaching, and you're not quite sure about the quarterback. If Watson gets back to his Houston level, Deshaun Watson, there's a world out there where the Browns could absolutely make a Super Bowl run. And I truly believe that, even in the tough division they're in.
Interesting.
Now, for my last team, I didn't want to go all AFC, so I had to pick an NFC team. I'm not picking Philly. I'm not picking San Francisco. I'm not picking Dallas because those were the top 3 teams favorited in the NFC. So you know what? After I've been listening to you about this one team and I've been thinking about it, I'll actually go with the Seattle Seahawks.
There you go.
And listen, people are a little bit too high on the Saints, I think. I don't trust Dennis Allen at all. I don't see a world where Dennis Allen is a good enough head coach. He's the second worst head coach of all time next to Hugh Jackson. There is literally no proof that he can be an NFL head coach. Statistically, look it up. He's only won like 10 games his whole NFL career. He is not a great head coach. He wasn't a good head coach in Vegas. He wouldn't have. Now, I do agree. Derek Carr's got the best defense of his career. The division is weak, though. I really do like Carolina. I think Carolina is going to be sneaky good. And then
I
NFC
also think
South.
Atlanta's going to be sneaky good.
I don't, because I don't trust Desmond Ritter. I like Bryce Young already, and I haven't even seen it. I like Bryce Young more than I do Desmond Ritter, and I like Frank Reich more than I like Arthur Smith. So I know you saw my NFL predictions. Probably, I'm guessing I have Carolina winning the South this year. They are my surprise division winner. You got to go with one every year. For me, it's Carolina. I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender at all, but I don't trust New Orleans. Listen, back to Seattle real quick. Is there a world where Geno Smith repeats what he did last year and even better? Yes. And when you add Jackson Smith and Jigba to that offense and the kid Witherspoon they drafted out of Illinois, Seattle is really good. I still don't think they have as much talent on their team as San Francisco. And I think for the regular season, and Seattle, by the way, has always been out coached by San Francisco these last couple of years. I think the head to head is what doomed Seattle, and I don't think they're going to have enough to win the division. But is there a word out there? They do? Absolutely, I could see it.
Okay, so I got a question for you. Why did you not include Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars?
The reason is because I think that there is more high upside for a team like the Browns or Baltimore because they have better defenses. Jacksonville, to me, is not a great defense. I think they're going to have to go outshoot people. And I also think they're going to be hurt by the fact that their division is relatively weak. And I like Indy. I think they're going to be better than people think. I like Houston. I think Houston's going to win some games this year. I think they added a lot of talent in free agency. I don't think they're going to be terrible. And Tennessee, I don't love their roster at all, but Mike Vrabel's a really good coach.
I'll give him that, yes.
I think that there's more upside to Lamar Jackson could have a better year. Herbert, Deshaun Watson, even. I think those rosters are better than Jacksonville's roster, even though I'll take Trevor Lawrence over Lamar Jackson, over Deshaun Watson. And to me, it's really a toss-up with him and Herbert. But Jacksonville would have been my fifth, but I didn't want to go all AFC. So I went with Seattle just because in the NFC so weak and the AFC so tough.
Here's something interesting. Neither of us mentioned Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. Neither of us did.
You're right. And, I was thinking about it. There's a world out there. I have the Jets. I don't know where you have the Jets finishing. I have them in third. I have them sneaking into the wild card at 10 wins. I have them as the last seed. But I have them in third in the division behind Buffalo and Miami. Could they win the division? Yes. But even if they do, I think that they're a 1-and-out playoff team. I don't think they're a Super Bowl team year one.
Okay. Yeah. I agree with you. I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender year one. I think they're being a little too overhyped. I mean, I get it. They probably would have made the playoffs last year if they got decent quarterback play. I get that. I get what they have, at the skill position with guys like Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. They just added Dalvin Cook. I get it. But how do we know Aaron Rodgers isn't going to revert back to his old form and become the diva that we all know him to be?
The biggest thing I'm worried about with the Jets is their offensive line. Their offensive line, to me, is a mess. We've seen it in Hard Knocks. It's not very good. And Robert Saleh, if you've been watching any of Hard Knocks, Robert Saleh is a terrible motivator. I would not want to play for Robert Saleh personally if I was head coach. I don't like him that much. I think it's a very defensive-minded, rigid. Again, it's an offensive-minded game. But for that matter, I do think that there's a lot of expectations on the Jets.
Yes, I agree with you. I hear what you're saying about Miami. I really, really do. I love Tyreek Hill. I love Jalen Waddle. Their wide receivers are great. And Mike McDaniel has proven himself to be a very good head coach. At times he's been great. I wouldn't call him one of the best head coaches in the NFL. Not quite ready to say that, but let me say it like this. He has the potential to get to that level. He definitely does. But the inconsistency of Tua's health just I can't get that out of my head.
I'll put it this way: when I look at Miami and Jacksonville, between the two, I see Miami as their personnel is right. It just all depends on Tua. Jacksonville's the opposite. I like their quarterback. I don't love all of their personnel. I think, by the way, Calvin Ridley's going to have a great year receiver. I love their offense. Of Josh Allen, the defensive end, and Walker, the number one pick, they don't have a lot of talent on defense. I think Miami's got a lot more talent on defense, especially in the secondary. And I think really, again, it all depends on Tua's health.
Yes. In terms of the Chargers, you are right. They have weapons galore. Keenan Allen, who I think is I wouldn't say he's a top 5 wide receiver, but would you be willing to say Keenan Allen is a top 10 wide receiver? Is that fair?
It's debatable. It's not quite fair. It's debatable. We'd have to go over the list. But, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill.
Fair.
Those are the 4. I like Jalen Waddle over Keenan Allen personally. So that's 5 right there off the top of my head. I kind of like, A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith, I think, and T. Higgins are right there, 7, 8. So, and I know there's got to be DK Metcalf. I know there's got to be
Lamb.
CD. He's like right there with Keenan. I kind of like Mike Williamson then more than Keenan Allen. So,
okay, but overall, you're at least willing to.
He's top 15. He's one of the best route runners in the NFL. He's a very good receiver.
Okay, but are you at least willing to include Keenan Allen in the discussion for top 10?
Not saying he'd be there at 10. If he's there for me, he's there at 10.
Okay, so I hear. So you're willing to put him in the discussion. I'm all right with that.
In the discussion, real quick here, because we got to move on to our last topic.
Go. Okay, got it. It's Brandon Staley. I just don't trust him as head coach, and the Chargers have not shown me that they know how to get out of their own way. We saw it last year against the Jaguars.